Hello everyone. It's Tuesday. It's Harp Tuesday. So I'm here with Joris Beats.
Hello.
And we're here at the World Harp Congress in Wales. And Joris is the designer of the Delta Harp, the Selby Delta Harp, but his recent project is Harp-E, which is a really interesting instrument. And I think one of his goals was to solve sort of two problems. The cost of getting into playing the harp, and also being able to play it in a band or something and be heard. So he's going to tell us all about this amazing harp.
Yeah, it's a project, like you said, to address quite a few things. The main thing is like affordability and kind of making more people play the harp. Like we can see today at this Harp Congress, there are some people, but it's only a couple of hundred, whereas we want thousands of people to be at the World Harp Congress because there's so many people playing it. We want new generations to be able to, have an affordable access to harps, because otherwise they stay a little bit elitist, harps. Then there's the question of electric harps as well. Like these are typically quite expensive as well. And like you mentioned, I invented the Delta Harp years ago to make the harp cool and like versatile, and that you can play it in bands, etc. But still, it has a price tag. And this is an attempt to completely change that. So what we did basically is figure out what the key elements are of a good electric harp, which is having good strings. So in this case we have the Salvi silk gut strings, the Achilles silk gut. So really good string with long sustain, good tension and good tension distribution, etc. And we have the Delta Harp electronics, so the top end electronics with a really good full bass response. So that's when you play this harp. You can hear it has a really nice full-bodied sound. Out of a minuscule harp, which you would never expect it to have that kind of level of sound. And then there's lots of other inventions about it. So in order to just pay for those two high-tech components, the rest needed to be redesigned completely to make it affordable. So where we started was with the lever mechanism. So that's a completely new, patented, revolutionary system, I would say. I'm quite proud of this. So. It means that instead of having, like in this case, 24 strings times 24 individual, quite expensive mechanisms, this is one integrated mechanism that instead of having 24 times 10 metal parts, it has only 2 metal parts in total. So instead of 240, you go to 10 or two parts, and the rest is just made out of very sturdy, very simple, this kind of plywood beech material. And the strings, because of this mechanism, which is really a different thing, the strings sit in the middle of the harp, which means that the strings are not at the outside of the harp trying to bend the harp. And therefore the whole harp can suddenly be constructed out of very light, simple material, because you don't need thick, expensive wood. It becomes much lighter, therefore the whole construction becomes as simple to assemble, simple materials, etc. So hugely reducing the cost. And we designed it so that, like you can see here, that the harp can come as a IKEA kit. As a self-assembly kit. And that means, of course, all kinds of other things. So it means that you can tailor it, for instance. So before putting it together, you can give it your own color. So the frame does come coated. So it is protected from the weather, etc. But it's water-based paint that you can still add other paint to. So then you can, like in this example, you can give your own expression in that. Fantastic. Then you can self-assemble it. You assemble it with just like, an IKEA piece of furniture, just a little Allen key, the whole thing. And then that same key is also the tuning key. So as you can see, the harp is really turned upside down, literally.
So it tunes down here?
Tunes down here instead of at the top, And so you feed, it's very easy to string, you feed it through, and then here it goes through the hole, and then you tune it, and it's strung. And then, all kinds of other...
Well, I was really taken by the stand, the way that it's set up, that it actually can tilt back like a sort of what we think of as a standard harp.
Yes, exactly. So I can show you a little bit. So this is in its kind of most standard position. You can lean it back, of course. And if you want to, for different age groups, you can move it down very easily to like for 8-year-olds or for 6-year-olds even, you just put it all the way down here. There we go. You've got a mini harp suddenly. You know, if you're sitting really low by the ground, you can play it, or as an adult, you can put it in this position and put it on top of a table, and then you can play it standing.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so you can imagine putting it on the table here, then it's full adult height, you know?
And can you also wear it then?
Exactly, so like the Delta harp, you can, I have to be careful with my mic I guess, but I can try and show you like this. So just very much like you would with the Delta harp, you can put it around your neck, and then you suddenly have your hands and feet free to walk around, do other stuff. And you can play it like you would.
Sort of the sideways.
Yeah, the sideways way. So like. And one of the cool things of this mechanism is as well that you can bend the pitch, so you can work with microtonality and pitch shifting. So while you play. Nice, huh?
Fantastic.
And because it's electric, of course, you can do all kinds of other stuff with it. So, for instance, an octaver, you know, so you can add this extra bass. And if you want to, you can then, of course, with any kind of effects pedal that has a looper, you can start looping things. I can show you a little bit like that. So now you've got a bass line going, and then, for instance. A little wah wah on top of that, and because you've got your feet free, you can easily use all these pedals. So I've got this foot here, it's nice, huh? So and there's loads of other effects, of course, you can put on it. And what I find myself is that because of all these different ways of being able to hold the harp, it invokes all kinds of different ways of playing as well. So when you're seated, you do the more classic, harp movements. When you're standing like this, automatically you think, I've got my hands and my feet free to do other stuff as well. So I start playing around with staccatos and bending pitch and putting all kinds of effects over it, and really use maybe a smaller amount of strings, but a lot more expression. And then I've seen people also put it like this and put an extra strap and then wear it more like a harness. I'm not a big fan of that position, to be honest, because I'm more used to this. But another nice one I've seen is people sitting down, like the same as you would with the Delta as well. And you suddenly have let me switch this one off. You suddenly have more of like how you would play a guitar by the campfire or something, or it's like a thing you would do on for a couple of hours in a row while jamming with other people, and you sit really close to the strings as well, so you can really try you kind of work it more like maybe a cantele or something where you have this kind of direct contact and playfulness with the strings themselves. So yeah, yet another way of playing it. Yeah, so it's really the aim is to have a super versatile thing of a high quality in a very simple and very affordable instrument.
Yeah. So I think you can get it in sort of 2 or 3 flavors, right?
Yeah.
Completely IKEA kit?
Yeah. So in terms of kits, there are 3 kits.
Yeah.
So the DIY, 100% DIY kit.
Yeah.
Then you can get it. You can get it pre-assembled, but not strung yet. And that's a little bit more expensive, but it's only half an hour to put it together.
Sure.
So that also doesn't cost us that much time. What is very time consuming always with harps and any instrument is the stringing. If you buy it completely pre-strung and tuned and regulated, then it's a bit more, but still a lot cheaper than any other harp on the market. And we encourage people to do this, to do the DIY version, because building your own instrument really, it creates a connection with the instrument, and you know exactly what goes where, how it works. So if you want to ever hack it or do something different with it, you know how to do it. And there's like other nice extras, like you can assemble this harp completely mirrored. So for left-handed harp, if you're left-handed, with the Delta harp and other harps, I got a lot of questions from people. Oh, can you not make a left-handed harp because I'm left-handed, etc. And
awesome.
and this one you just mirror the whole assembly, and then you've got a left-handed harp, and you can, well, like I said, you can add these other colors to it, and you could, it's really easy to drill holes in it and stick stuff to it, so you can add MIDI buttons or any kind of thing that you would like to add to it. And I've heard people that they thought, I'd like a bit wider soundboard, so I just attach a bit of wood to it on the side, etc. And then you paint it, and you don't see that it's not originally part of the harp. So a bit like the IKEA hacking community as well. I'm really hoping, we're already seeing that people starting to, do their own, give it their own flavor and do their own hacks to it. So yeah, that's what we encourage, and it would be great fun if lots of people now start to play the harp. And we've already seen in Holland, for instance, that now there are, when there are harps, there will be people playing it. So we've seen hundreds of children now through one particular charity in Amsterdam that would never have played the harp. They suddenly had access to this because of us making these harp very cheaply for them. And now we have this 300 new harpists that would never have played the harp. And that's, of course, the grand aim is that in a couple of years' time there would be thousands of people in a place like this instead of up to a few hundreds. And that's, the whole, you break the cycle of, it's expensive, and therefore I'll give my kid a violin first, and then the kid needs to scratch a violin, and whereas if you give a kid the choice between a harp and a violin, lots of children will choose a harp because it immediately sounds nice, etc. Yeah, so that's the hope, that's the project, and I hope many people join in.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Really quite an amazing harp. And
thank you so
quite
much.
Quite an amazing project. And I think it's fantastic to try and get as many harps as possible into as many hands as possible.
Exactly, that's the aim. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I hope everyone collaborates with us and make this like a global movement of new harpist generation. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You can find out a lot more about this harp at the HarpE website, harp-e.com. Thanks so much to Joris for taking the time to talk about this very cool and fascinating new design. I hope you enjoyed this on-location edition of Harp Tuesday, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode. Cheers!